Now, let's read the whole verse in Hebrew again, and then I'm going to go through the threading. Ken yazeh goyim rabim malai yikpitzu malachim pichem ki asher lo supar lachem rao wa asher lo shamu hitbonanu. You see the paralleling between hitbonanu, which is being caused to intensively understand, and rao, which is to see, look at, inspect, but it's in the Cal Perfect. Now, before we get into the meter, I want to show you the threading. The first instance of threading, there's so much threading in here, it shocks me. The first instance of threading is in Ken. First word in the Hebrew. That it looks like a dagger with a mouth open. All the Hebrew letters are mouth pictures. Each Hebrew letter is basically telling you how to pronounce the letter. Okay, so you've got this open mouth for the K. And then you've got this dagger-like thing for the N, because your voice is going down at the end of it. Because it's a final noon. Okay, now, Ken is the third one. We had Ka and Ken in 52:14. Now I've got the third one, again play on Trinity, in Ken. Yazeh, alright, is again Nazah. That's in the Hifil imperfect again. And that is a technical verb for atonement, sprinkling. That was what the high priest had to do on the mercy seat once a year. Okay, so that's how he sprinkles, as it were, atones for the Goyim by means of what's going to happen to him in 52:14, which was the, Ken mishchat me yishmerehu, v'toaro me eni adam. Alright, being, sacrificed, being beaten to a pulp and up there on the cross where everybody's seeing him. Okay, so as a result of that, just as Ken, Yazeh, he will sprinkle, atone for, while he's up there. Okay? He's up on the cross. In that manner, he's also atoning for Goyim Rabim, the Gentiles. Aliyah, that's what's telling you that it's an atoning, because Aliyah is going above, going up to. It's going up to Father. The smell of his thinking on the cross is going up to Father, so to speak. And that's the atonement for the Gentiles. So it's not just the Jews who are being atoned for. The Gentiles. I mean, you're either Jewish or non-Jewish. So that's everybody. I wish the Calvinists would pay attention to that. But anyway. Okay, Yikpitzu. Okay, they will close, these are the kings, they will close their mouths. Now see, you'll notice that this is the next clause. Alright. So we got Ken being threaded down to the prior two Kens, that's Trinity. And then again, you've got the hypostatic union, which is already paired, being referenced as a whole via Yazeh. Alright? Because that's sprinkle, that's atoning. And then it's obviously talking about atoning up to Father, so now you're talking Trinity, because human thinking alone can't do that atoning. But we're going to talk more about the Holy Spirit later. Goyim Rabim, alright, is, newly introduced here. Aliyah. Now, Goyim Rabim is a kind of pairing. I mean, it's sort of stretching it to say that, because you have the Jews being depicted in 52:14. And so now the Goyim are brought in. But that's not really a hypostatic union pairing, but it is a pairing of two kinds of people. Alright, so then we get to Yikpitzu Malachim Pichem. Now, they're closing their mouths. The kings, they shut their mouths in amazement. That's a parallel and a pairing to Shamemu in 52:14. Remember how it started out? Kasher Shamemu Aleka Rabim. Well, now the Rabim are the Goyim instead of the Jews. Okay? And instead of Aleka, it's Alai. And it's Yikpitzu Malachim Pichem. The Malachim in view here are the Gentile kings. Okay, they're shutting their mouths in amazement. So they're not at the cross. They're later, they're after. And they're shutting their mouths in amazement at finally seeing this happen. Alright? So you got Shamemu in 52:14 of the Jews watching him be on the cross. Now you've got Yikpitsu in parallel. Alright? Of the Malachim Pikem, they're shutting their mouths at the story of him being on the cross. Okay? Ki asher lo supar lechem rao. Okay? He who was not heard of, who was not recounted to them, they see. Yeah, they see him. How are they seeing him? They're seeing him in their minds. They're looking at him in their minds. They're looking at him through the story being told. The story being recounted. Okay, it's not just a simple telling of a story. It's explained, it's justifiable. It's an accounting story. Okay, that's what Sefer means. Safar, rather. Alright? So then you get to, so that, you got a parallel. Remember, it was Marehu in 52:14. Ken mishat meish Marehu. That's a seeing. That comes from the same verb, only it was turned into a noun in 52:14. Okay, Marehu, the sight of him. Hu is the third person singular suffix. Okay, so Marehu is now paralleled with Rao, now used as a verb. Isaiah switches back to verbs in 52:15. Alright? And then you've got your last clause, Wa'asher lo shamu hitbunanu. Alright? Shamu is hearing. Now that was what I was trying to say in 52:14. He, instead of saying shamemu in 52:14, it's concatenated into shamu. So now you've got the same sound, shamu, here in 52:15. Lo shamu with shamemu. Okay, shamemu were appalled up at him. Well, we're not hearing the meaning of what he's doing. So we're appalled, we're horrified. And it's got a negative connotation in 52:14. That we're not only appalled at the sight of him in 52:14, we don't want him in 52:14. And that's really the whole human race. The Jews just happen to be the poster boy in the verse, but it's all of us. You know, we're appalled at him. We're horrified at the idea of him. So it's negative and horrified, like, you know, compassion. And it's also horrified as in desolate. Okay, so Isaiah is paralleling that here in 52:15 with the sound shamu, to hear, to listen, to obey. Lo shamu, not hearing, not listening, not obeying. Wa'asher lo shamu, the one who we didn't listen to, we didn't hear, we didn't obey. Hitpunanu, now understand. And it's true that the Goyim Rabim, the Gentiles, are in view here. But again, the poster boy was the Jews in 52:14. The poster boy is the Gentiles in 52:15. You see how he's doing the pairing still? He's paralleling, and paralleling is a feature of all literature, good literature. But with Isaiah, it's got this God-man stress. Because, of course, this is a stress on his humanity. We're hearing about him, seeing him. And so he's now pairing the peoples, first the Jews, then the Gentiles. And he's pairing the concepts. Hipunanu is paired with Rao. And of course Rao is paired with Marehu. It's threaded down from Marehu in 52:14. And Shamu is threaded down from Shamemu in 52:14. Okay, and you'll notice also there's so much pairing that goes on here. It's like, how do you do this off the top of your head? Okay, you got bin, which is to understand, and that's also, you know, a pairing off of Rao, to see, because you're seeing with your understanding. Okay, and then you've got Asher paired again within 52:15. Ki Asher lo supach lachem Rao. Okay, Asher, and then Wa Asher lo shamu hitbunanu. So you got the two uses of Asher. Yeah, he who is God, he who is human. Alright? And then Hitbunanu is also being paired with Supach. Because an accounting and an intensive understanding go together. And so you've got an accounting, Supach, Rao. Of course, Rao would be the result of the accounting. And then Hitbunanu would be the result of Rao. So I don't know, maybe it's stretching it, but he's sort of doing a sort of Trinity play there. Because first there's an accounting, then there's a seeing. That might be more hypostatic union. First there's an accounting, which results in a person being seen, God taking on humanity. And then hipunanu, we are caused to intensively understand by means of the Spirit.